Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the show here on the Delta Report. This is February 26, 2023, a Sunday. Here's the thing, guys. I've started to do these shows here on the Delta Report about silver. And the reason why is I do believe, now we've drifted along through a long period of time. I've been talking about silver for ages. Years and years and years and years waiting for this big things that I promised you guys way back like 6 years ago. I was saying we're going to have silver shortage, silver's going to go to the moon, blah, blah, blah. I shouldn't say blah, blah, blah because we're on the verge of it coming true now. Finally, after all this time. And that's why I'm starting these shows. Because we got to get an in-depth look at what's going on so we can see when this is going to go to the moon. It's going to make a moonshot. And if you're in on silver, if you like silver, well, tell your friends how great the stuff is. I mean, it's coming now. We're finally getting there. I mean, you guys have suffered through 4 big bullion banks manipulating the price through the Comex. And how they do this is they create paper that says this is silver. But it's not silver. It's paper. Let's take a look at that real quick. Where is it? I had it here. On the Comex, I mean, they don't like to deliver out. They have their contracts. The contracts are paper contracts. They're equal to 5,000 ounces of silver. Well, right now, what they've done is they've created, I think it's 17 times more of these contracts than there is actual silver there to cover the contracts. So basically what it means is for every ounce of silver, they've got 17 contracts floating around of people who say they have silver and say they own silver, but they don't really own silver. They own a paper short contract. It's a game they've been playing for years. It's getting ready to bite them in the bum. Let's take a look. Let's get in here and take a look. The world's largest silver producing companies in 2021. This is what we want to look at. So, the Fresnillo mine is a big one. 53 million ounces they produced in the last 2 years. 2 years consecutively. You can see here on the chart. They've produced 53 million ounces. Second is KGHM. I guess that's in Europe, and they've produced 43 million in let me see here, in 2020, and they produced 44 million this year. Then Glencore comes in third, and then Newmont comes in fourth. These are some of the bigger silver mines, just to give you guys an idea which silver mines are the big ones. These are the big ones. Without them, just if one of these big miners dropped out, the earth would be in trouble for silver production. Like if Fresnillo or KGHM were to, something were to happen to one of these big mines. So it says Fresnillo is the world's top silver producer and Mexico's largest gold producer. Now, let's take a look right here. What did I have here? This is KGHM, the Polish mines. They produce. They're like number 2 in the world right now. They produce a tremendous amount of silver. And here's a Fresnillo mine. This is their web page. They go into quite a little bit of detail here. It says that operational since 1554. Oh my goodness, they've been in business that's a long time. Underground mine and a flotation plant. The workforce is 1,453 employees and 2,310 contractors. Mining capacity 8,000 TPD. Average ore grade and reserves 265 silver and 176 gold. Okay, mine production ore processed. In the fourth quarter of 2022, they processed 624,105 tons. And they give you quite a bit of the lists here. Ore grades, silver, they're getting looks like 100. Is that 197 grams per ton? What does that break down to? Considering in a troy ounce, how many grams is in a troy ounce? I think it's trying to remember how many grams is in a troy ounce. But at any rate, 197 grams per metric ton. A metric ton, I think, is 2,200 pounds of ore. And this is basically what they do: is they haul rock out of the ground. Here's over my head right now is a rock, and that's what the ore looks like. Here's another one right here. They don't see. A lot of people think a silver mine. They think digging silver out, it comes out like you buy it in the store, as a coin or whatever. No, it's these rocks. They dig these rocks out of the ground. Then the first thing they have to do is crush the rocks into powder. If you could imagine, and a lot of people didn't know that they can even crush a rock. Well, you can hit it with a hammer or whatever, and it'll turn to powder after a while. But that's how they do it. Basically, it's just a big, giant hammer device that hammers the rock against steel. The rock comes in squeezed between two pieces of steel that are hammering it together, and it basically splits and cuts the rock into pieces, breaks it into pieces, and then they do it again. And each time they do it, it gets finer and finer, smaller and smaller, and in the end they just basically pulverize it into powder. Then they put that powder into vats where they separate the silver from the rock. Little tiny little pieces of silver are inside that rock there, see? Like this stone here behind my head. Little tiny little fragments of silver all through that rock. And that's what they're able to do. They got to powder it first, then they put chemicals in, and then they extract that silver out. Now, what was this chart here? Comex silver registered ratio falls to 11.1%. It's the lowest in 22 years. The drainage of silver from the Comex vaults since the start of the year has been nothing short of spectacular. The supply of silver has been shrinking even more rapidly than gold. The draining since the start of the year has been nothing short of spectacular, they say. It says the analysis focuses on gold and silver within the Comex CME futures exchange. The charts and tables below specifically analyze the physical stock inventory data at the Comex shows physical movement of metal into and out of the Comex vaults. See, they've been draining it out from the Comex. I think some of these charts give you a better idea of just exactly how much is being drained out of the Comex. Here we go, this green chart. Now, this is a bit old. This chart only goes up to about the start of this year, the end of last year. But you see this top of the mountain, this is back in 2021, started draining out. You can just see it's been a downhill slide all the way until now. And what I heard, if we followed this chart a bit longer into this year, it's continuing downwards. The Comex registered silver stockpile. What does all this mean to you guys? Well, silver price is down right now. Now, there is a little bit of a premium on silver when you buy silver. Sometimes you can get the premiums as low as $3 or $4 per ounce. But you have to consider something. We're in an environment right now where your bonds, T-bills, bonds, are negatively correlated to the price of inflation. Now, what does that mean? It means that inflation right now is running, according to their metrics, around 8% or higher per year. It means you're going to lose 8% of your purchasing power of your dollar. It means in order to keep up, you have to make more than 8% on your yearly on your money. And bonds aren't paying that much. It means that you're losing money on a bond right now, a treasury bond. This makes them a less attractive asset class. Now, that's a guaranteed yield, though, on the bond. And this is what investors look for. They want yield on their money. They're always chasing yield. Where gold and stuff, I mean, you're not guaranteed a yield with gold or silver. It's one of those things where you could buy it and it could go down. You could lose some on it. You could, just saying. So there's a couple factors, and even though in the back of their mind they all know that gold and silver are fundamental behind the entire world's financial system, and these bonds are nothing more than IOUs on paper that hasn't been printed yet, on a corporate United States, which is basically a corporation that's already bankrupt. They owe $31 trillion that they'll never be able to, and that's not counting a couple $100 trillion worth of unfunded liabilities that they owe that they haven't got. And also they're not willing to raise their debt ceiling, which is to print more money just yet, without bargaining chips, and the whole thing is just a mess. So you're investing in a mess, a hot mess. Whereas gold and silver are the fundamental behind the entire financial system. But what's holding them back from buying gold and silver? One is allocation. That's been holding them back till now, but it's not a problem that cannot be fixed. And allocations basically means taking possession of it. So for small guys like us, taking possession of a few ounces of silver is no big deal. But think if you were a big guy. Think if you had 10 billion, I should say, to invest in silver. You clean out the entire market, and they'd have to bring your product to you with semi trucks. They'd have a fleet of trucks full of silver. How would that work? I mean, have you got a vault big enough, and you'd have to have armed guards, and on it goes, and it would take months to get it there and stack it and everything. It's for the big time investors. It's a problem. Allocation is a problem, but it's not a problem they cannot solve if they get scared enough and they see enough problems with the regular financial system. They will solve the allocation problem, but it's been a little bit of a hindrance. But there's other hindrances. It doesn't yield. There's no yield on it. There's no guaranteed yield on it, and they need to have everything, all the dots, the T's crossed and all the dots dotted on whatever they're going to purchase when they're dealing with that much money. And so they've been a little bit resistant, to get involved with purchasing the silver and gold, especially silver. But it's a very small market at the same time, and so. So basically what I'm saying to you guys is I'm starting something new on this channel. I'm going to keep up to date with silver, what's happening with silver, because the silver market is going to get red hot very soon now. And so I want to give you guys an idea of just where we're going with this, with this precious metal that is extremely underpriced, because the cost of production right now is probably somewhere around $18 or $20, and it's only selling for what? Barely over the price of cost of mining production. So you're never going to get a chance like this again. And I'll be sitting here, I'm going to tell you guys honestly, 6 months from now I'll be sitting here and I bet you the silver price has doubled. And there's going to be a lot of people coming on my channel, because then it's that doubling in price of silver from where it is right now is going to make people interested, and that's when they're all going to buy it. They're not going to buy it right now. Now, I'm getting in on the ground floor on this channel of a swell, of a tidal wave's coming of interest in silver. It's just starting. The big interest is going to be starting. You know, like the big interest that came into Bitcoin when Bitcoin went up to $68,000. Right. Well, the same thing's going to happen, but this time it's going to be with silver and gold, specifically silver. Interest in it's going to be red hot in a few more months. Thank you guys for listening. We'll catch you guys in the next show. Bye-bye.